Hi man, that's a sable.
McWhorter Custom Rifles presents
This week we're going to be concluding our South Africa safari with good friends and clients Jason Bryan and Seth Wright. This has truly been a bucket list hunt, one that we'll never forget.
Precision Hunting TV is brought to you by McWhorter Custom Rifles, Macmillan Fiberglass Stocks, Swarovski Optique, and Extreme Wildlife Adventures.
We're back in South Africa, and this week we're going to be hunting some truly top-end plains game. From giant sable to Inyala and huge bush buck, this is going to be an action-packed show. My good friend Seth Wright has been behind the camera for the last 2 weeks, but now it's his turn to try and check off some of his bucket list animals. First on the list is one of the most majestic animals in Africa, the sable. We still hunt into an area that ET had been seeing a big sable bull.
He's just turned his head now. So what I'll do is I just want to see if he moves out a little bit, then I can see the whole coat of his horns.
He spots some movement ahead and sees a group of warthogs. But just behind them walks out the sable we're looking for. Seth gets settled on the shooting sticks with our trusty McWhorter and waits for the big bull to give him the perfect shot angle.
You're good on him. Right, you can take him if you want.
Yep.
Good shot. Good shot. Great shot. That's how you shoot a sable. Nice. Got a good shot in him there. You could see him ducking in. So we'll go and see what he does.
I don't think he'll go far.
Alright, let's go and see, guys. There you go.
The shot from the McWhorter 7 STW looks perfect, and now we get on the trail.
Just look at this. Magnificent, magnificent sable. Well, Sis, what a great morning so far. Earlier we started off with bushbuck on the Limpopo River. We saw quite a lot, but unfortunately didn't get shots on any of them. We decided, right, let's see what else we find. Walked up to a certain area and we found this magnificent sable bull. And you put a good shot on him. He didn't go but 50 yards, if so far. One shot, great shooting.
Thank you.
Congratulations from Quagga side. It's magnificent, magnificent species.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done.
We waste no time and go back into camp and get Seth's bow, as the guys have been seeing a big bull Inyala on a water hole that has a blind set up on it at close quarters. Less than an hour into our set, the big bull Inyala makes his appearance and Seth readies his bow and prepares for a shot. He makes a perfect shot, and the big bull goes down in view of the blind. And Seth has another world-class animal to take back home to Oklahoma.
Congratulations. That's a fantastic nyala. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Just look at that. Wow. Well, Seth, congratulations on a magnificent nyala bull.
Thank you.
Came into a blind this afternoon. We said, we've seen some nyala coming in here. I think we waited about 45 minutes or so, and this big boy walked in. Made one good shot on him, went about 40 yards if so far, and piled up. Congratulations from Quagga side.
Thank you.
Monster bull.
This segment of Precision Hunting TV is brought to you by Borden Accuracy, makers of the most accurate custom hunting actions on the market. Manufactured in the USA to true bench rest tolerances. Borden Accuracy equals success.
The next morning breaks light, we grab our trusty McWhorter and head for the river in search of the Limpopo bushbuck. The Limpopo bushbuck aren't the biggest animals in Africa, but definitely the most elusive. They move primarily at dusk and dawn. I cannot describe how challenging this hunt is. We spend almost every morning of the safari in search of the bushbuck on the banks of the Limpopo River. And on the very last morning of Seth's safari, we round the bend, and the biggest bushbuck I've ever saw is feeding just ahead of us. But this isn't a chip shot. He's at 265 yards, and the pressure's on to get this done before he sees us and bounds off. We get a range from our SIG Kilo 2400s and dial the Swarovski X5 up to MOA. Seth gets the McWhorter settled on the sticks, takes careful aim, and squeezes off the shot.
Smoke.
Nice. Oh yes.
Bushbuck down.
That bushbuck hunting. Oh, there's nothing that gives you this experience.
No.
This is something so great. You do not know what you shot over here, my man. Look at that. Look at that size.
That's a good one, huh?
This is enormous, my man. Well done there. That little rifle did it, my man. Look at that. Look at that beautiful neck. Whew. Guys, bushbuck hunting in the Limpopo does not get better than this. Quagga Safaris has got the place for you guys.
That is a giant.
This thing is huge.
Y'all said 14 is like the magic number.
That one's
Yeah.
like 16.
This one's gonna go over 14 inches. Oh yes. Yes! Beautiful color on him and all that. Wow. A monster Limpopo bushbuck in the riverbanks. You made one phenomenal shot, 265 yards. I must say, this little rifle does it.
It does.
Oh, beautiful old mature bushbuck ram. Only place in the world you can have this experience in the Limpopo River with a wonderful bushbuck, Limpopo bushbuck.
It doesn't get much better.
Congratulations from
Thank
Quagga's side, and we hope to see you guys again.
The big bushbuck was no match for the 7 STW with 195 grain burgers. And Seth has the bushbuck checked off his bucket list with a truly giant world-class ram.
Precision Hunting TV is also brought to you by Hoff Power Auto and Outdoor Stores, Surge Pro by BioFact Crop Care, Ultimate Antler Deer Feed, and Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue.
Hey, James here at Barber Creek Long Range Shooting School. We're going to have a little discussion about ballistic coefficients. Ballistic coefficient in a nutshell is the ability for the bullet to maintain its velocity downrange. The higher the BC, or the higher the number, the more the bullet's going to maintain its velocity, which is important for what we do for long range hunting because velocity kills. The higher velocity, the bullet's going to function and it's going to give us a better shot at long range. So ballistic coefficient, there's about 10 different ballistic coefficients. The ones that we use for the bullets that we shoot are G1 and G7. So G1 is pretty old, it's 1870s, it's an old artillery piece from Captain Krupp. And what he did is he said, okay, this is a good projectile, we'll pit all the other projectiles against it to kind of see how they fly. That's a flat base bullet and what we call a long bearing surface and a rounded or semi-tangent ogive, or the tip of the bullet. So you know, it's kind of a blunt nose bullet. It has a little bit of an angle to it for aerodynamics. Modern long range ballistics is going to be your G7, which a bullet has a long bearing surface, a boat tail, and then a secant or aerodynamic tip or ogive. It is, of course, more aerodynamic than a G1. If you're running a G1 bullet, run a G1 profile. If you're running a G7 bullet, run a G7 profile. Honestly, that's as simple as it is. But let's say you're running a ballistic program or a ballistic rangefinder that doesn't give you a G7. You can use a G1, but what you're going to have to do is use a different muzzle velocity than what your chronograph says. Because your chronographs may say, oh, hey, this is 3,300 feet per second. If you plug that in and you're shooting a G7 bullet and you're running a G1 profile, your data is going to be off. So I'll go ahead and put this in here, for instance. I'll pull up Applied Ballistics. This is a G1. I'll shoot 1,000 yards and it says I need to dial 27.5 minutes. Well, let me go back and then I'll plug in a G7 profile. Everything's the same, station pressure, temperature, altitude, nothing changed. And I go to 1,000 yards and it says 25.25. Well, the G7 was correct because it's a G7 bullet we're shooting. You can see by running a G1, I was off on my data. Now, there is a way to fix that. It's called truing your velocity. So again, if you're running a G1 profile or rangefinder that doesn't give you G7 capability, but you're shooting a G7 style bullet with a secant ogive and a boat tail, you can still run the G1, you just have to do something called truing your velocity. Because even though your velocity is X, whatever it said at the chronograph, that's not the velocity we're going to be able to use. We're going to have to true it by shooting a target at a long range, 8, 7, 6, 900 yards, and we're going to have to adjust our dial up till we're hitting the bullseye, and then we're going to have to true our velocity or change it until our bullet is hitting where it's supposed to, and you're basically running a false velocity or a velocity that is including station pressure, temperature, altitude, angle, and everything else that affects it. So keep in mind there is a difference between G1, G7. If you're shooting a G1, run a G1 profile. If you're shooting a G7, run a G7 if you can. If not, you can still use the G1, you just have to true the velocity. And we're going to cover that in another segment down the road. So, hey, thanks for joining us. James at Barber Creek Long Range Shooting School, another downrange shooting tip. Thanks.
Now we're going to hop in the blind with Jason and hunt Gims buck.
We just had a Gims buck come in. He's probably 32, maybe 33 inches long, but he's a real old bull, mature bull, so we're going to try to take him.
Jason gets a range on his sig and lets it rip.
This old Gims buck came in. It's probably 32, 33. Not the longest or biggest, but man, he's an old mature bull. One that you definitely want to shoot. Made a good shot on him. Man, what an exciting hunt.
Precision Hunting TV is also brought to you by Borton Accuracy, Trigger Tech, Brooks Barrels, Capstone Precision Group, and Hawkins Precision. This segment of Precision Hunting TV is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, real Texas barbecue.
On this hunt, we traveled across the river into Botswana and hunted with our good buddy Luke Blackbeard in his archery-only concession for sable. The number of animals we saw out of the blind was amazing, and not long into our set, a big bull sable comes into bow range. I wait for a perfect angle and just the right opening and settle the pin. The shot was good and the blood trail was short. One of the most beautiful and majestic animals in Africa is now mine. Thanks Luke and Jason for this awesome opportunity. Now it's Jason's turn as we're back in South Africa with Quagga Safaris.
Folks, we were just glassing and spotted a really big sable. Gonna see if we can sneak in and get out in front of them with wind in our face, see what happens. It's a very big sable, and we estimate them definitely over 50 inches. Wow.
The guys have found an absolute giant sable bull. It's one of the biggest any of us have ever saw. The stalk is on, with our trusty PHE on leading the way. The giant bull starts walking into the open and gives Jason a shot. And Jason does what he does best and releases an absolutely perfect arrow.
One arrow
kill!
You like that?
My friend!
Holy cow.
Jason, my brother, what a fantastic day you had.
Oh man, awesome hunt.
The sun is going down behind us in Botswana here on the Limpopo River. What a special moment.
Absolutely.
And we're sitting behind one of the most incredible trophies I've ever seen. This is a 50-inch plus sable bull, my friend, that you got with one arrow, and I can't thank you enough and congratulate you enough.
Thank you.
I think I'm more proud than you, my friend. So.
Made a good shot, double lung. He didn't go 100 yards. We think he's going to go number 1 with a bow. So definitely would be my biggest accomplishment as a bow hunter after almost 33 years.
Well done, guys. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Absolutely.
Well done, guys.